Hi, I'm Mathemagician, and today we're going to be learning about decimals. But first, I want to thank one of my subscribers who wanted me to make a video introducing decimals. So here it is. So you might be thinking, what are decimals? Decimals are numbers that are written according to their place values. The decimal point acts as a divider to separate whole numbers from values smaller than 1. For example, let's say the decimal 1.5. This little point acts as a divider between numbers less than 1 and numbers more than 1. And you might notice that a similarity between all of my examples. So for a decimal to be a decimal, it needs to have a decimal point. Now let me explain to you how decimals work. We follow a system. It's called the base 10 system. This system means that every time we want to make a number bigger or smaller, we can do it by dividing or multiplying by 10. So let's just say this big square represents 1 whole, or 1. We can write that in a decimal form as 1.0 or in a fractional form as 1 over 1. We can also write it in a percentage form as 100%. Now, as we move down, you might say, Mathemagician, isn't this just the whole that we have from above just cut into 10 pieces? And you are absolutely right. So this basically means 1 out of 10 pieces, or as a tenth. Now it is important to note this, the t or th. When looking at place value in whole numbers, you have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, but when you're going down in decimals, you have the whole number convention, but you have to always have a t or th underneath it. So it becomes 10. The green bar that I've colored in is 1/10. We can write that in a decimal form as 0.1, in a fractional form as 1 over 10, or as a percentage form, which would be 10%. So as we have the 10 bars, I again divided the 10 bars into 10 pieces. So if you count up each and every little square, that equal to 100 little squares, and no wonder we have hundredths. And you can see that little tiny green square that I've colored in, and that represents 1 of the 100, or 1/100th. We can write that in a decimal form as 0.01, in a fractional form as 1 over 100, or 1 divided by 100, or in a percentage form as 1%. Let's look at a pair of examples so it can help refine your understanding. First, let's look at 1.5. It's always helpful to create a table like I've done. If you're learning decimals, it's easier to understand if you just convert into a table like this. Then, put each digit in its specified place value. In 1.5, there's 0 tenths, there's 1 ones, and then there's 5 tenths, because there's a 5 next to the right of the decimal point. And there's 0 hundredths, because 5 is the only digit there. Now let's draw this out. We have 1 whole, so we have to color in 1 whole. So that's 1 whole colored in. And now we have to color in 5 tenths. And to do this, as we recall from over here, we just have to color in 5 bars made up of 10 of those tiny squares. So that is a visual representation of 1.5, or 1 whole and 5 tenths. Now let's move on to our final example. Now you might notice here that there's no number in the whole number side, or the left hand side of the decimal point. And that's okay, because sometimes we can have numbers less than 1. So we can write that out. There's 0 tenths, 0 ones, 5 tenths, and 9 hundredths. So all we have to do is just color in 5 tenths, which is 5 of these bars made up of 10 tiny squares, and 9 hundredths. So that is 5 tenths and 9 hundredths. If you enjoyed watching my video and learned something about decimals today, then click that shiny red subscribe button. Don't forget to strike that bell to get notified when I release more fun maths videos. If you have any questions or comments about my video, or any other topics that you want me to explore in my future videos, then chuck in the comment box down below. Thanks for watching.